Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to see everyone here. My name is Erin Flynn. I am the Outreach Director at the Oregon Institute of Occupational Health Sciences, and I am really excited about our science seminar today. We're going to be presenting on the Respectful Workplace Initiative, and this is an initiative that is supported by the Oregon Department of Transportation and the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries. And I'm going to be presenting today with my colleagues. Larry Williams is here from the Bureau of Labor and Industry, and Emily Wong, who is a research faculty member who is going to speak about her Respectful Workplace Climate Scale, which is a key component of this initiative. Down this one? I'm good? Okay, I can still see my slides. Okay, good. So this is a project that essentially is addressing the issue of culture change in the construction industry. And for anyone who has worked in construction or knows about construction job site culture can be a pretty tough environment. And it can be particularly challenging for non-traditional construction workers, women, people of color, LGBTQ individuals. So we're going to talk about how we're addressing this complex issue. And one of the things I want to note is that this is a project that really highlights the partnership between our research faculty and the outreach team. And it truly is a partnership initiative, and you'll understand that more as we get into this. So the agenda today, first we're going to ask Larry to come up and say a few words about why ODOT and BOLI are supporting this work. Then I'm going to provide an overview of the initiative, and I'm really going to place this work in the sort of social and political context that has given rise to this agenda and many stakeholders coming together around this agenda of culture change, job site culture change in the industry. And then Emily is going to provide detail on her Respectful Workplace Climate Scale and explain how she developed it, the validation of the tool, how it relates to outcomes. And this is one of two key projects in this initiative. There's the Respectful Workplace Climate Scale, and there's Respectful Workplace Resource Hub. The Resource Hub will be a training portal, and we're in development phase right now with that. Initially, we thought we could talk about all of this today, and we realized that was misguided. So we're just sticking with the three topics that you see here. Katya, Danielle, and I will come back in the fall to provide an update on the Resource Hub and training portal. So I'd like to invite Larry up to say a few words, and then we'll get into the rest of the agenda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Williams. I'm a policy analyst at the Bureau of Labor and Industries. I've been there for about 27 years. But for roughly the last 13 years, I've been working on this project with Oregon Department of Transportation to promote highway construction trades as a good opportunity for careers and to increase diversity in the highway construction trades. And we've tried a variety of things. Key services focus on things like pre-apprenticeship classes, providing childcare subsidies, providing hardship assistance, and some other services of that sort. And along the way, we also get evaluation services through Portland State University. We've got partners there, Maura Kelly and Lindsay Wilkinson, primarily, who every 2 years provide an evaluation for both quantitative and qualitative analysis. And one of the things we found is that for all the services that we provide, the pre-apprenticeship and the supportive services for apprentices, it's improving completion rates overall. It's improving completion rates for the diverse populations that we're particularly targeting, women and people of color. It's starting to close the gap to some extent, but there's still hurdles. And one of the big hurdles that keeps coming up in surveys is apprentices across the board report that harassment and discrimination rates are alarmingly high, I would say. Slightly higher for women and people of color, but truly all apprentices report that there are some problems on the job site. And so we keep trying to like nibble at how we can address that issue. We had a pilot project with Oregon tradeswomen to develop and work on a project called the Green Dot Initiative, working with a program that previously had done work with the military and with educational environments, but they adapted it for construction. It's mostly a bystander intervention program, so it gives the people that experience harassment something that they can reasonably do, gives them options depending on their personality and their situation. Would you know, either talking to a friend or talking to a supervisor or a formal report. Not everybody's comfortable doing a formal report, right? So it gives them a variety of options. And the evaluations there found that, you know, it improves awareness, it improves doing something, but it doesn't necessarily go all the way to solving the problem. Similarly, after Green Dot, we worked with Oregon tradeswomen to develop the Rise Up program that was originally developed in Seattle and adapt that for local use. But being mindful of the data and wanting to be able to be good stewards of public money, you know, here we got these training initiatives, we're going to build to capacity. We want to know, are we making a difference when we implement these respectful workplace training initiatives? And so we got in contact with Emily. Kent Anger connected me. I'd been working with Kent for a while on some other projects, and we started talking about what it would look like to have a respectful workplace evaluation so that we have a clear measure to benchmark where we are now and to determine whether training initiatives or interventions that we would be promoting are having the positive impact that we want to see. And that kind of brings us to where we are now. The one other thing that I would say about this is that after starting to work with Emily, we were able to make in this biennium a big leap in terms of investment because of the infrastructure funds that were approved federally and that ODOT is committed to increase the amount of funds that we have available for this initiative. And so this is an exciting partnership, and we're hoping to, you know, for the next 4 or 6 years, for the foreseeable future, you know, until we're able to transform first Oregon and then the world. But in the, you know, in the short term, we want to make Oregon the place to be if you're a construction worker and, you know, ODOT needs your services, that people will be like, that's a job I really want to have, right? You know, so thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back to.
Great. Thank you, Larry. And thank you. I see some of our construction partners here, so that's really exciting. Okay, so I'm going to provide, actually Larry provided a really nice overview, so I'm going to move through this quickly. But just broadly speaking, this initiative really aims to equip the construction industry with new evidence-based tools and resources to build a respectful workplace culture. And that's really what our institute is all about from a total worker health perspective, is conducting research and then implementing evidence-based interventions. And so I think that's the difference between what's happening today. There's a lot of work going on out there and training taking place, but we don't really know if it's having the impact that an agency like ODOT or BOLI seeks. I want to provide some context for why this agenda has become really sort of gathered a lot of strength over the last few years. Fundamentally, we know there's a persistent labor shortage in construction, so diversifying the workforce in construction is critical just to meeting demand. That's number one. That's sort of an economic driver. But there's also a social driver, which is that a lot of construction is funded by public tax dollars. And there's an imperative for that reason to have the construction jobs benefit the communities in which the construction is taking place. Historically, construction has been white and male. That's changed dramatically over the past 20 years, but it's a slow and hard culture change that's taking place. At the federal level right now, there are literally billions of federal dollars coming through the infrastructure bill, the Biden administration, down to states. So the federal administration is placing a large focus on equitable hiring and workforce development because they want to see these dollars benefiting people in communities, because construction jobs are high-wage jobs, high-wage, high-skilled jobs that enable people to move into the middle class, folks who don't have college degrees. So all of that's sort of happening at the federal level, and then it trickles down to the state level, and Oregon is actually one of the most active states in this space, partly due to the work that Larry has done and Maura Kelly's work evaluating this training program. It's cited in all of the national literature on issues related to harassment, discrimination, and retention of apprentices. Just this year in January, the Oregon legislature passed a law that requires public agencies to meet certain workforce requirements on public funded jobs above a certain dollar amount. That includes, most importantly, ODOT for purposes of this conversation, as well as all of the public universities and the Department of Administrative Services, as well as all community colleges in the state of Oregon. And the legislature recently asked BOLI to craft respectful workplace languages, really suggesting that there's an awareness that psychological safety in construction is part and parcel of occupational health and safety in this industry. So there's a lot of movement, and I think this is significant. This is significant legislative action. So when we think about, well, why is this hard to do? Why is it challenging to diversify the construction workforce? What we know nationally is that Asian Americans and African Americans are significantly underrepresented in this industry. White, non-Hispanic individuals are relatively proportionate to their percentage of total population, and Latinos are overrepresented in this industry. That's been really significant the past 20 years, the increase of Latino workers in construction. But it's also important to note that Latino construction workers tend to be concentrated in the lower paying positions of general laborer, painter, and also some of the most dangerous trades like roofer. When it comes to women, anybody working in this field knows that women are significantly underrepresented in construction. Overall, the construction industry is 11% women, but that includes administrative, financial, etc. In the trades, only 4% of women constitute the workforce in the trades. So as Larry mentioned, we know, and again, there's been really an amazing amount of research just in the last few years by national policy organizations looking at these issues. We know that harassment and discrimination, particularly for women, but for other groups as well, is very persistent and continues to be prevalent regardless of the work and the advocacy that's going on. This particular report looked at 2,600 tradeswomen, so it was a survey of 2,600 tradeswomen, and indicates that anywhere from 1/5 to 1/4 of women experience discrimination and harassment on an ongoing regular basis in this industry. Now, it sort of goes without saying that if you're experiencing harassment and discrimination on a regular basis, this is not a welcoming or hospitable work environment. And this is where we get into the issues related to retention. So what Larry is describing is a workforce supply strategy. If we diversify the workforce, if we supply more diverse workers and provide them with the resources they need and the services they need, the assumption is we're going to get a more diverse workforce. But the reality is we're not meeting those goals because people don't stay in the industry because they find it a challenging environment. So what you can see here, and this is directly from Maura Kelly's evaluation from PSU, all apprentices complete their training at a low rate. 49% of all apprentices fail to complete their apprenticeship. But the 50% who do complete their apprenticeship, what we see is really different completion rates. So white men complete at a much higher rate than black men, followed by white women. So this is what you start to see. This plays out in the workforce. Another thing that we found both in the national research and here in Oregon is that one of the #1 reasons that people leave the industry is because they feel disrespected and that the work environment is not hospitable. So harassment, lack of diversity, mistreatment from employer, not getting the good work, lots and lots of reasons that people feel that they're not having a positive experience in construction.
Erin,
Mhm.
can you just define what is meant specifically by an apprenticeship? Is it a formal program, or can you just walk onto a site and say, okay?
No, it's a formal regulated program. It's regulated by the Bureau of Labor and Industry. You have to apply, you have to pass certain tests. There are always more people who want to be in the registered apprenticeship program than can actually, you know, than the state can take. So it's a coveted kind of position, because what it does is it provides a combination of on-the-job training as well as you know, skill training, and it's how you become a journey worker in the industry.
So if you have a family-owned small business and you hire someone, that's not covered in these statistics, right? So that's not a formal apprenticeship, that's just.
It's not the only way that you can become a construction worker, but it's it's considered sort of the gold standard. Does that sound right to people who actually know more about this than I do? Okay, so what I'm trying to convey to you is that there is a growing consensus that retention in this industry is linked to job site culture. So if we want to change the demographics of the construction industry, we have to look at job site culture, because that's the only way we're going to retain folks. And I thought this was an interesting and very relevant and hot off the press quote from the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program market study, which demonstrates that we are going to need thousands of more female construction workers, particularly apprentices and people of color, to meet the state requirements on the Interstate Bridge project, which will be the single largest construction project in our region for the next decade. Okay, so we have a challenge. Harassment and discrimination persist on job sites, hampering our ability to retain women and people of color. A lot of general contractors have started to implement programs. A lot of public owners have started to require general contractors to have respectful workplace trainings. We've been doing interviews for the last 3 months with public owners and general contractors. And what we're finding is that it's a very spotty environment. I think that's the word I would use. Some people are doing this, some people are doing that, some people aren't doing anything. Some public owners require this, some public owners don't. It's not systematic, it's not consistent, and we don't know what's working. So we're at sort of an anecdotal point with this, and I think a large part of the motivation behind what ODOT and BOLI are doing is to try to move to a more systematic approach to this work and operationalize those things we know that actually work, because they're evidence-based. Okay, that's where our project comes in. 2 components to the project: the Respectful Workplace Climate Scale, which assesses the climate of a given general contractor or job site and can really assess the quality of that job site as it relates to respect in the workplace. And you're going to learn a lot more about that from Emily in just a minute. Now, if you can imagine public owners ask general contractors and subcontractors to run through this assessment, and they discover we're weak here, we're strong here, we're not doing well here, then the idea is that you want to be able to guide them toward the best resources to improve their practices. And that's what the Respectful Workplace Resource Hub is about. It's in progress, and we're going to come back in the fall and tell you all about it. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Emma.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Emily Huang. I'm an associate professor at Oregon Institute of Occupational Health Science. I'm very happy to have you join us today. I'm an occupational health psychologist, and I've been doing research and consulting projects for over 20 years now. And I lead the Safety Climate Lab at our institute. And the mission for our lab is to help organizations build good workplace culture and climate. So we are very delighted today. We have the opportunity to share with you about these very important projects. And the title is Developing and Validating a Respectful Workplace Climate Scale with Construction Workers as the exemplar, a total worker health approach. The project team involved our safety climate team, and also we invited subject matter experts in this field to join us. And we also appreciate it. We have the support and contributions from Department of Transportation, Oregon Department of Transportation, and BOLI to join us for these projects. It is a team effort. It definitely is a team effort, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate the contributions for everyone for these projects. I'd like first to start sharing with you a 2 minutes videos for these projects. Hi, I'm Dr. Emily Yongshan Huang. I am an associate professor at the Oregon Institute of Occupational Health Science at Oregon Health and Science University. At OHSU, I lead the Safety Climate Lab. The mission of our lab is to help organizations protect the safety, health, and well-being of their workers. As a team of dedicated researchers in occupational health science, we strive to help organizations cultivate a culture of safety and respect in their workplace. One of our recent research projects is the development and validation of a respectful workplace climate scale. We believe that respect in the workplace is critical for creating healthier and more productive environments. With the backdrop of rising instances of workplace mistreatment and bullying, our respectful workplace climate scale takes on even more relevance because such negative behaviors can result in diminished worker well-being, lead to increased stress, and potentially escalate turnover rates. This is a cycle that deeply affects both individuals and organizations, as it disrupts workers' work-life balance, causes emotional distress, and ultimately impacts an organization's cohesion and effectiveness. This is why our Respectful Workplace Climate Scale is designed to assist organizations in making data-driven decisions to nurture a respectful work environment. You might wonder, has a holistic climate scale like this been done before? Yes, it has. Our scale builds upon scientifically proven quantitative methodology that we've successfully applied in the field of occupational health and science. By focusing on important workplace factors like justice, diversity, equity, inclusion, and civility, this comprehensive tool extends existing research and empowers organizations to better understand the effects of their organizational climate in order to make more effective decisions. This project is proudly supported by the Oregon Department of Transportation, ODOT, and the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries, BOLI. It supports ODOT's goal of increasing minorities and women in the construction workforce by establishing workplaces where they feel safe and welcome. Together, we can make a workplace where respect is not just a principle, it's a measurable and celebrated standard. Thank you.
It's not going to the next page. Oh, okay. Thanks. Yeah, again, thank you for joining us today, and I really appreciate it. That means you really care about this topic. And today we also have Bolly joining us today, and also field experts from the construction industry joining us today. We really appreciate it. So I first like to provide a little bit more information about safety culture, safety climate, how we extend the safety climate research to design, apply the tool to develop this respectful climate scale. So definition of safety climate. Safety climate is first introduced by the father of safety climate research, Dr. Dos Zoha, back in 1980s. So there are over 40 years of research, scientific validations about the tools. And I would say I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have Dr. Zoha join our safety climate team as a visiting scholar since 2009. So with support from Dr. Zoha and we work together, we developed multiple scales since 2009. We developed safety climate scale for truck drivers, for utility workers, for people who work alone, and general safety climate scales for all the industries. We published the scales in the scientific literatures. And after our work with safety climate, our team also extended to total worker health. And for this project, we extended to develop a respectful climate scales. So we really appreciate that. So safety climate is defined as employees' shared perceptions of companies' safety policies, procedures, and practices. It's a shared perception. It is seen through employees' eyes by collecting data using surveys, using the score, the shared perception to represent the factor of safety climate. A lot of companies say safety is important, right? They have big sign everywhere, safety is important. But when the schedule is behind, and sometimes safety is no longer important. It is important to show safety is overall important and the true or relative or priority of safety at work. You say safety is important when there's a priorities, when there's a money involved, when the schedule is behind, when the safety is important. And again, we'll apply that to the concept here. We care about building a respectful workplace. I know we care about it. But when there's a money involved, when the schedule is behind, when someone involved in the events is someone very important to the companies, when there's a competing demand, whether build a respectful workplace is still a high priority. So that's how we want to interpret and bring that concept to this scale. And it's probably not a surprise to you, the number one dimensions, one of the key dimensions of a good workplace culture and climate is the management commitment. The management commitment to safety, the management commitment to build a respectful workplace, the management commitment to the total worker health, more than just safety, employees' physical health, employees' mental health. Again, the leaders create the cultural climate for the company. That's the first dimension. Of course, trigger down all the leaderships, all the way from top manager, middle manager, frontline supervisor, all the way to employees. And why safety climate research is important? It's been 40 years now. Thousands and thousands of scientific studies, projects, papers involving this topic. Because safety climate has been identified as one of the best leading indicators of future accidents for the workplace. It is a robust predictor of future injuries. When a company has a good safety culture, reflecting good safety climate score, their employees demonstrate a better safety knowledge. They are motivated to safety. They have better behavior, all the way linked to less injuries and accidents. Company doesn't have to wait until accidents happen to know their place is not safe. They can build a good safety culture by get a score from the climate surveys, use it as leading indicators. Don't wait until future accidents. And that's the purpose of this project. We like to develop a respectful climate scales. Company doesn't have to wait when there's something major happens, severe happens. We know about harassment, we know construction industry actually have one of the highest suicide rates in the country, unfortunately. Company doesn't have to wait until disaster happens to know their place need to be changed. They can use the climate surveys now today, use it as opportunities to understand their current status, use it as a tool to proactively to create a good cultural climate for the company. So the purpose of these skills, these projects, again, the goal of this project is to develop and validate a reliable, respectful workplace climate skill, utilizing 40 years of research in safety climate, applying the methods how we develop the skills in these projects. So definitions, we conceptualize, we define respectful workplace climate as employees' shared perception, again, of the company's policies, procedures, and practices about whether companies care and want to build a respectful workplace. Extending from the safety climate research is overall importance and true the relative priorities about, yes, building a respectful workplace. Not just what you say, it's about what you do. Right? I know we care about, we bring in diversities. What did you do to bring in more women to the construction industry? What did you do to retain, make sure different genders, the diversities, bring in the diversity, free from harassment, prevent all those events? And what can we do to build a better workplace culture and climate for that? And again, the number one commitment, number one dimension is management's commitment to build a respectful workplace. This is a scientific project. We have two specific aims. The first aim is to develop the skills. We use a mixed methods approach. We bring in experts, qualitative research, qualitative data. We first, by generating questions, conducting literature reviews, we bring in subject matter expert join us, generate questions. After we generate questions, we conduct cognitive interviews, make sure the literacy levels, the language can be used appropriate to the participant, to the workers. And after that, we want to demonstrate the reliability and validity of the skills. Yes. We put in a lot of effort, make sure our questions are reliable and valid. And we also examine the shared perceptions. And the end goal, we like to not only offer a full scale, but also a short scale. But for the safety climate surveys, which Professor Doha and I use, originally have 16 items to measure company level, 16 items to measure the direct supervisors, so to measure multiple levels. After we collect multiple data from companies, we shorten it. Right now, today, if any company say, Emily, can we bring in a short scale to our HR surveys? We just want to keep track about the safety climate score for my companies. Now just using 4 and 4 items, 4 plus 4 items, company can utilize that, bring into their HR surveys every year. So that's the goal. We will provide a comprehensive assessment, again, using as a leading indicator, helping companies to comprehensively understand their respectful workplace cultures. The end goal, we would like to offer a short skills to make the skill more flexible and versatile to be used. As we share, we first started by conducting literature review. So from the literature review, we identified the key dimensions we like to include in these projects. The 5 key dimensions is the companies should be free of discrimination. The company has DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, has organizational justice. The companies are free of bullying and harassment, and has promote workplace civility. These are the 5 key dimensions we start with, and we focus on those 5 factors to generate the first round of questions. Yes.
So did you identify the key dimensions, or are those derived from
From literature, yes.
the literature? But is this the first time that key dimensions were brought together?
Yeah, yes, specific for our scale purpose, yes.
Okay, so
There are a lot of literature from those key dimensions. Then we summarize that. And again, our scale, we like to link to all those key dimensions. Of course, there are other factors as well, but those are the 5 we identify from the literature on the first round.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Some other key findings from the literature. Of course, it's probably not a surprise to you when the company has a good, respectful workplace culture. And a respectful workplace, there are many positive outcomes, right? These are scientific papers. You can see that link it to better health conditions of employees, less interpersonal conflict, lower turnover rate, higher level job performance, and better mental well-being for employees. Yet, of course, it is not a surprise to you. But again, there's a lot of literature and scientific studies linked to that. We also identify some potential strategies and solutions for building respectful workplace climate. We use a multi-level approach. What the individual can do to contribute to the respectful workplace, what the coworker can do, what the supervisor can do, what companies should do. I should say our lab, we really appreciate we got a project from NIOSH and R21 research to help train women, construction women, how themselves can take care of themselves in the workplace. And we're really happy and appreciate the opportunity for our projects. We target on what company can do in addition to train women themselves. Like what supervisor can do, what coworker can do. The supervisors and companies set a policy procedures, what company can contribute to build a good workplace, more than just asking trained women to take care of themselves. So we really appreciate we're using both approach to help to create a better workplace, a good workplace. These are our process to develop and validate the skills. We have 4 stages, as I share with you, started from literature, bringing expert opinions. We first generate over 100 questions. We conduct cognitive interviews, make sure the question is clear for people to understand the literacy levels. And we also invite 12 subject matter experts to help us conclude the qualitative part using quasi methods. We then collect data using survey platform. I know some colleagues use Prolific, use MTurk. Our team, we use Qualtrics. LHSU, we use Qualtrics platform to collect data. So this is the second stage. The data are collected through countrywide across all the industries to the start. Then we specifically focus on construction industries. After the second stage, we apply the survey to company specific. So we regroup and work with companies all the way to validate the skills from literatures to explore the factors to confirm the reliability, validity, and the final stage will be target on develop a short skills after the full skills is validated. Project progress. We started by assemble the team. We have a kickoff meeting back in early 2022. And again, later I'll share with you, I'm very happy. Last night, we finally officially have all the data we need to validate and show the reliability of these skills. Again, we conduct from literature review, combining both qualitative, quantitative methods, and all the way to the final skills. I'll share with you in a minute. So our survey has been administered. We have collected 4 data sets specific for this project to validate the skills. The data set 1, as I shared with you, we use online survey platform from Qualtrics. So we conduct the longitudinal studies first. We collect 2 waves of data using Qualtrics from 506 general workers across all the industries throughout the United States, collect the data. And a month later, again, we collect the wave 2 data matched to the wave 1. So it's a longitudinal data. We started from data set 1. And the second data sets, we also collect additional data from construction workers specific for these projects. Again, we use construction workers as an exemplar for these projects, but the scale can be applied to different industry as well. Yeah, later on, extending from construction industry. And the data set 3 is from a general contractor with 300 employees. And another data set is from subcontractors only, so over 257 participants. And that's company specific. Then assessing reliability and validity. We always say it's important to demonstrate a skill is reliable and valid. Otherwise, you're wasting your time, right, and money to do a survey if it's not reliable. It doesn't mean anything. So what is reliability? What is validity? Reliability is about consistency. If I say I have a bathroom scale, I measure it. First time the scale show Emily, you are 100 pounds. Okay, I got a score. Okay. The second time I use that scale, again, the bathroom scale, you show Emily, you are 200 pounds. Is the scale reliable? First time 100, second time 200. Is the scale reliable? No, right? You know that, of course not. Okay, so a scale is really important. It is reliable. Otherwise, you're just wasting the money to have that scale, even like physical bathroom scales. Okay, I got a new scale. The first time I step on the scale, it's Emily, you are 200 pounds. Again, okay. Second time, it still show Emily, you are still 200 pounds. Is the scale reliable?
Yes.
Yes, right, okay. Is the scale valid?
I would say no.
I hope not, right? You got it. That's a very good point. Again, any scale, yeah, thank you. Thank you, yeah. So it looks like I'm 200 pounds, right? Yeah, thank you. So again, any scale, bathroom scales, psychometric, psychological scale, all the scales, it's important to show before you do anything. Can you tell me what's the reliability? What's the validity? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and money to keep getting different scale. That doesn't really indicate something important you care about. So we are very happy to show you. Utilizing that 4 data sets, we apply a lot of statistic methods, all the way from reliabilities, content validity by experts' opinion, all the way to construct validity. We utilize exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory factor analysis, applying 4 different factors, all got very good score. Fitting the criteria required by the science in terms of data analysis. So again, we are very happy to show you our scale is reliable and valid. And the second part would be, again, we are talking about companies construct, not just individual, right? Does a company, everybody say similar things? Does everybody work at OHSU have a similar opinion about OHSU's cultural and climate? Or does everybody say different things? I think it's good. I don't think it's good. We want to know whether there's a shared perception of the group. So we conduct homogeneity tests. There are 3 criteria, ICC 1 and 2 RWGJ, to test the within group, everybody in the same group have a similar perception, and between group, there are differences. So again, we conduct the statistic, we apply the 4 data sets, and we are happy to demonstrate, yes, for a respectful workplace culture and climate, there is shared perception. So employee work in the same place have similar perception.
And we have a quick
Yeah.
query from the online audience.
Mhm.
This is from Sean Rice. Sean wrote, mathematically, a higher order factor should have the exact same model fit as the lower order model.
Mhm.
Your results show different values. What other parameters were changed in the high order model?
Actually, we have a result that's where I share a little bit more. Last time, we are so happy to conduct the multi-level analysis, the mixed models. And we have very good results to show that. Yeah, thank you. So even before we demonstrate that, we first want to see whether people think the same. Right, in the same group, we all work at the institute. Do we perceive the same thing as Dr. Steve Shea's leadership? Does everybody think the same? Right, that's the sheer perception. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the first step. Yeah, thank you.
So I hope because you don't want people to think the same, right? You want to measure perceptions of people who may be thinking different things about the common. You want to be your scale needs to be sensitive to people who may be at risk of being harassed.
Yes, very good point.
And
And
then-
I'll share with you the outcome. I really appreciate you guys all show that you're so, interesting and passionate about that topic. So the first, I want to see these individuals, they have their own opinion. I'll show you, yes, that really linked to important outcomes. And yes, people have different perceptions, right? Like maybe women think differently than men, the female worker. Then their perception link it to the important outcome, as I mentioned, the leading indicator. when female perceive different perception from their own experience that link it to different outcomes. And this question is about the shared perception as a group. Does people think similar on the same job site? Does people think similar in the work group? And then there's group differences will predict different outcomes. That's called multi-level analysis.
Yeah,
And in public health, it's mixed modeling effects. And we conduct multi-level analysis for that. Yes, and then people think differently, they will have predict different outcomes. And that's in my next slide.
Great.
so
Yeah, go ahead.
this group analysis is
Yeah.
what we would like to see.
This is the first part to say whether perception or shared. That's it.
Because I mean, the average may obscure the people, the minority in
Yes,
statistical. model.
Very good point. So we also have individual data. So we do both.
Okay,
Right? First would be, does the group has consensus? The second one is the individual. Then we can pull out different genders, male, female, different race, age, right? Different group. That's individual data. But this is to talk about work group. Does people work under the same supervisor, work at the same job site? Does those perception, those cultural climate, really people communicate? So there's a shared consensus. So this is the first part. And we are happy to show both. Our scale can demonstrate individuals' different perception. Women have different perception, there's different outcomes. Also, the group have different outcomes. Yeah.
So my hearing that shared perception would be, does everyone believe safety on the job site is important? And everyone would say, well, you would think everyone would say, yes, safety is important. But then the question is your job site safe? And that's when you would get the differing opinions.
Actually, I have actual example. Very good questions. You guys all go ahead of me. Thank you. Yes, very good point. Yes, thank you. So the first step, again, we do find they are shared perception. So this is the last part. We know we get a score. So what does that mean? Does that mean anything? Are we spending time measuring something useful, right? So there are different type of outcomes we include in these projects, including safety outcomes, health outcomes, such as physical health, suicide thoughts, perceived stress, anxiety, depression. We include well-being outcomes. We include company outcomes, all the way to job retentions, work engagement. So first, individual labels. We are happy to say the scales we included, link it, individual labels. They are significant, link it. So almost all the outcomes we include. And then the second one, we do find there are shared perceptions for different groups. Then whether a company perceive the leaders create a good cultural climate that link it to important outcomes. That's important to know, right? More than just individuals, the whole group. When the group companies, employees think the company do a good job, really care about safety. The word and actions, not just what they say, it's what they do. When employees perceive that way, that link it to important outcomes. And we're just very happy to show that after we conduct multi-level analysis, the mixed effects modeling last night, we conclude it worked. Our scale can demonstrate both individual and the group labels predict to important outcomes. And we are ready to share that in our journal paper, scientific paper, shortly for that one. And we'll be happy to share the scales after we publish in the scientific literature. Yeah, thank you. So any questions about the results? Okay, so our scales have 3 labels. As I shared with you, the safety climate, we have 2 labels. It's about employee perceive whether company care about safety, create a good safety cultures. So for our case at OHSU here will be employees share perception whether OHSU together create a good cultural climate at OHSU. And the second set is about direct supervisors, whether employee perceive your work group, your direct supervisor create good local cultures. And for the respect, we include the third label. There are 3 labels. Again, the company, supervisors, and coworker labels. So the first set of questions is about the company labels. The question would be, my company, for example, my company develops fair rules. Employees report whether my company applies fair procedures and practices. So when employees do perceive company do a good job, that link it to important outcomes. and also work group. Maybe our School of Nursing, Dentals, our institutes, different research institute, when there's a shared perception about the work group, that also predict important outcome as well. Again, both the individual and the group labels. And the first set of questions about overall companies, whether OSU do a good job. The second set of questions about direct supervisors. The example of the question such as my direct supervisors give assignment fairly, not based on favoritism. So that's the group, whether employee perceive the direct supervisor create a good local culture in their work group. And the third set is about my coworkers. The example will be whether employees score about my coworkers are welcoming to people of different identity and background. Again, the data is collected through employees, all the employees, frontline workers, whether they perceive the companies, the direct supervisor and co-workers all contribute to a respectful workplace, more than just individual. So just today, we are very happy to share. We finalized the skills. We're done with all the statistics to demonstrate, to show the reliability and validity. The final scale has 35 items. There are 11 questions to ask about whether companies create a good company culture, climate in respectful workplace. 16 questions of the 11, 16 and 8 items for co-workers. So the total of 35 questions for that too. In addition to the climate scales, we also developed a new construct about employees' experience, personal experience about the respectful workplace, the outcomes, the outcome variable. This is not part of the climate survey, but we also like to demonstrate this climate score also link it to our construct of personal experience. In addition to the previous list I showed you, right? The turnover rate, depression, those are published scales. So we also have a set of questions, 12 items, and the outcome, personal experience such as in my companies, I'm treated with the same kindness and considerations as others. So there are 12 items including that surveys as the outcomes, in addition to the existing published scales. So final stage. Again, we are happy to share. We have 35 items going through all the scientific procedures. We learn and you utilize extended from the safety climate research to develop these skills. As a final stage, we like to continue apply that surveys to additional companies. We target on at least 4 more companies to utilize that 35 respectful workplace climate scale and including also the outcomes. And then based on the data we target on after we collect data from multiple companies, we will develop a short scale. We'll apply the item response theories, include both difficulty parameters, discrimination parameters to identify, such as what's the top 4, the best 4 items, the best 5 items to measure that construct, to provide the flexibility for company to use. And we like to establish a benchmark data sets, right? When your company has a score, what does that mean? Compared to other companies in your same industries. We hope we can utilize that to motivate more companies willing to do more. I think I'm good, I got a score of 4, but I realize all the other companies got 4.5. Maybe I should be motivated to do more, right? We like to develop a benchmark data set after we collect data from multiple companies. And the scale is ready to be implemented and further validated with job site. For construction, we keep talking about job site cultures. That's more than just one company, your own companies. This is important, right? Your company create good cultural climate, take care of you, even when you are working remotely in different job sites. Then together, from general contractors, subcontractors, or even owners, again, how can we all together, using a system approach, system thinking together, to apply to build a respectful workplace, especially for the construction industries. And then we look forward to work with outreach. We look forward to work with Oregon Department of Transportation and BOLI to share the results through scientific papers, through scientific conferences, presentation, and the outreach effort. Again, we really appreciate this opportunity. There's opportunities for us to really share the information more to the communities more into scientific journals and conferences. So that's the goal for us. The ultimate goal, after we collect data from multiple companies, we'll continue through the data sets. And the ultimate goal we target on utilizing the survey can help any companies to evaluate their current status. What's the current situations? What's the current respectful workplace culture for your company? Again, don't wait until disaster happens. Again, we know for construction industries, there's a lot of, as Aaron mentions, there's harassment issues, there's high suicide rate. Don't wait until disaster happens. Know it now and target on how to improve it. You can get to evaluate, any company can evaluate your current status. And we can serve as have a benchmark data sets for company to compare yourself to, and can be served as an internal yardstick, right? Similar to the human resources survey. This year I got a score 3. We put in a lot of effort, put in a lot of time, implement training, implementations that work. You want to know that, right? Otherwise you're wasting, you put in a lot of effort. You want to know your score. So next year you can see whether there's a significant improvement, for example, from 3 to 3.5. Right? You want to know that, especially all the effort, and validate effects of the interventions. Again, your own yardstick, similar to HR survey, you do that once a year. You know what's your current status. And then also use it to validate any intervention. If you have a 2-year intervention program, you can do that before and after your intervention to see your intervention really make impact. Great, yeah, thank you. Really appreciate. Very happy to share the skills with the community, and we look forward to share the scientific papers soon, and then to share both with to share that both in the science communities and then the practical, yes, the construction industry, eventually extended to other industry as well. Okay, yeah, thank you.